safe, I am loved, I am healed. And oh, precious is the flow that makes me white as snow. No other fount I know. It was nothing but the
It's always a pleasure, and I want just to say this in public that Captain Njoroge, what you are doing with the trumpet of hope is a great, great gift to us as humanity. You're bringing us together to talk about about topics that are very, very critical in this season of life in our generation, and especially in this season of COVID-19, which has leveled all of us. It doesn't matter what language you talk. It does not matter what your public status. But this is a time where we have truly been leveled to the ground. But one thing that encourages me is knowing that when the world has leveled us, when COVID has leveled us, when we have all gone through a lot of transitions and a lot of changes that are scary, I like admitting to myself and to others that just because I'm a doctor, Dr. Penny, I'm a minister of the gospel, or I am doing what I do, I am first and foremost a total human being, a woman in the making, a person like you, everyone of you listening to me tonight who is going through stuff, and I am just as vulnerable. I'm not exempted. And as I say this, I want to give you permission to be yourself, to accept your emotions, accept yourself, and don't be shy. Don't even be ashamed that you're feeling nervous about the season we are in because it is what it is. That's what everybody is saying, but that is the whole truth. God is good. I'm Dr. Penny Njoroge. I am a clinical psychologist. I have my own private practice, angel counseling services, and like Captain Njoroge has said, I live here in Birmingham. But my work is very, very global. I am all over the YouTube. I'm all over the Facebook. And I do this as a way of giving back to our to society, as a way of thanking God for giving me a second chance in life. I have said this in the past that a lot of things have happened in my life, and every day I wake up, I have learned to thank God. As I'm thinking about the topic of addressing the issues that are happening to us and our children, to us and our grandchildren, I'm reminded that as we talk about children, are they from a day old child, from the toddlers, from the adolescents, from young adults, from college graduates, and for you and for me, however old you are, it's never too late to do something new. And one thing I want to remind us as we start is that the book of Psalms 127, verse 3 says, children are a gift from the Lord. They are a reward from Him. Maybe you are thinking that, wow, what a time to be raising children. But yes, remember, if you have a child, however problematic they are, whatever challenges you're facing today, I want you to be thankful to God. And I'll say something else that causes I hope will draw your attention to the need to be thankful. And I'm not saying that we are thankful because we don't have problems. We have more problems than we've had in the past. And my mother taught me that when you think that you have it the hardest, look around you. Go back to yesterday and see people who suffered more difficult situations than you and I. But yes, as we go through this, our topic today is our children and our grandchildren, our brothers, our sisters, who we are guardians to. Any child that we are taking care of, where we are mentoring, we have children who are struggling. But the bottom line is, whatever their situation, they are a gift to the Lord. Are they lame? They are a gift. Are they problematic? They are a gift. Are they on drugs? They are a gift. Are they alcoholics? They are a gift. Are they imprisoned? They are our gift.
Mm-hmm.
Do they love you? Do they reciprocate when you say, I love you, son, I love you, daughter? They may not, but according to God, they are a gift. He knows them. He knows them by their names. He knows their lot. He knows what is happening in their lives, and they are a gift. And Captain Njoroge, you and I talked about these families and Bob was a few minutes ago before we got on this presentation, and
Yeah.
many of us have seen the story of the Mbogwas and the loss of a young wife, the loss of a young mother, who the Lord chooses to take for reasons of his own, and we all have questions. Unfortunately, God never tells us that in a rose garden, he picks what he wants. But at times he picks something that grieves us. I'm also a grief therapist, and I'm trying to figure out what is going on in the life of this husband who has been left behind with a day old or just a day. I mean, a baby that is just a couple of days old, and as a mother of six children, I'm trying to figure out, looking back at my day old baby, and now a baby that is a few hours, and how vulnerable they were, and I'm thinking, and this is a question I'm throwing to you, even as we address this topic. How blessed are you to be alive today, to love, watch over your children, provide for them, and care for them for such a time as this? I know because of COVID, where we say that life has completely thrown us off the ladder. We are wondering, how do I even provide for my children? But I want you to start on this note that I am grateful. You and I should be grateful that what the Lord has taken, young mothers like our sister, just a few days ago. There are many others who have passed away because of COVID. There are many others who are hospitalized. They don't even know what's happening to their children. But you and I are alive. We can see our children. We see them. We can talk to them. I want us to address the topic of today from a point of gratitude, a point of saying that God, you gave me these children. I will trust you. Give me wisdom. Give me patience. Give me compassion. Give me understanding. Yes, give me compassion to deal with them when they are questioning. Give me compassion for the little ones who do not even understand what is going on today. And while I'm referring to COVID, parenting has been hard from time immemorial because I grew up the first of 10 children. And when I got married and had my children, I remember telling my mother, Mommy, you must be very lucky. I am now old. I have children. My siblings are older. You are not like me because here I am just beginning. And she looked at me and told me, Wajiro, I wish you knew. Enjoy them today when they are toddlers. And I know I'm speaking to a mother and a father somewhere. You have your children and you're thinking, I can't wait for them to be in their 20s because today they are 2 years. Enjoy them where they are today. They are peeing on themselves, they are pooping on themselves, they are doing all kinds of crazy things. And as they grow older, if you have teenagers around you, they're answering you back. And you're wondering what next. I will still tell you, enjoy them where they are today because every day they grow, you are going to experience a new way of life. You're going to experience them as they grow, as they change, as they transform their lives, as they transition from one stage of life to another. I want to encourage you, love them where they are. I am today a grandmother, and so I'm not completely out of the woods. When my children grew up, I was excited. I am retired. And then the empty nest came. And somebody somewhere is listening to me, and you have an empty nest, and you are scared, especially today. especially today when they cannot visit you as you would want them to visit you. But I want you to thank God for where they are. Let's go back to parenting. And I'm going to talk a lot of the things I want to refer to today in reference to supporting our children. I can be very general, but I want to put a lot of focus on what do we do with our children today in this season of COVID when they are struggling, they are depressed. You just talked about a young mother who commits suicide, and the best she knew is to take her children away with her because she couldn't imagine leaving them behind to suffer. Maybe, as you said, she couldn't even think of anybody else
Sure.
who could love her children. What a sad, sad situation. That's a topic for another day. What are we doing? Where are we when these things are happening? When a mother, when a father gets so desperate, you have food in your garage, in your storage, you have food in your eco base, in your granary, you have food in your freezer, you have food in your pantry. But a mother dies and takes her children with them. I'm going to throw that out there because I know we are guilty. You may be back in Kenya and you're listening, or whoever will listen to this. You may be here in the US with us. Those of us who are in the diaspora. And this is happening everywhere. We have parents who are very desperate today, especially now where many people have lost their jobs. Many businesses have been closed. There are no salaries. People who had two salaries or three salaries where maybe a child or two are working and supporting families. Maybe it is only one person who is working. And even this person who is working cannot get enough hours in this COVID season. As we do the social distancing, which is necessary, and I'll say this and support those of our people who are working on the front line who are telling us constantly, please be careful, please do the needful, please do social distancing, please do all the sanitation, the sanitizing you can do, wash your hands, sanitize yourself, and do everything necessary. And most of all, take care of yourself and take care of your children. Our children are looking at us. They are anxious. Let me say a number of the things that are causing grievances in our children because as a grandmother, I have a teenager in my house, and I have other teenagers, my teenage grandchildren back in Kenya, and I constantly talk to them because to me they represent a generation that is hurting, a generation that is grieving. Why are they grieving? Some of them will tell you, not just the teenagers, but all students who are not going to school, who have been compelled to do homeschooling, others who are learning on the internet. And as I say this, if you are lucky to have the internet and the Wi-Fi for your children, please remember and pray for families back in the third world where there is no Wi-Fi, where there is no internet, where they don't have any computer. As we complain, I said today I'm going to challenge us to be thankful. There are those families whose children are going to lose a year or two because they cannot keep up with learning because they don't have the internet, they don't have the computer, they don't have the laptop. You have a laptop, you have all these facilities. Please teach your children not to just complain. And here I'm talking about what's your language. Are you complaining all the time? Because our children are needing role models who are appreciative of little, little blessings. Remember what we say, count your blessings, not your problems. What are we teaching our children during this season? Because we have plenty of problems, Captain Njoroge. We are
Sure.
surrounded by all kinds of problems. And for us as parents, what kind of role models are we to our children in this season? Because remember, they are still growing up. They are learning. They are copying us. Remember, we always say that the best copycat is your child. The best copycat is your young adult. They are looking at us. They are watching us. They are listening to every word we say. What are they going to carry from you and me when all this is said and done? Our children are missing their friends and their teachers. They are grieving those relationships. And so you see, you find your child pouting in the house. They are angry, they are resentful. They have temper tantrums. Please don't just talk about they leave them alone. Watch it too. They're just throwing temper tantrums. I want us to address these temper tantrums, whether they are from the toddlers, as young as a toddler. And I've said this as a, I forgot to say that I'm a mental health provider. And so I deal a lot with people who are stressed, people who are depressed, people who are suicidal. And the youngest suicide I have had is a child of 7 years. I still struggle with that, wondering what on earth happened to a 7-year-old who would poison himself. We will never know what happened. And so, the reason I bring this example, as we deal with loneliness and isolation at this season, please do not ignore any child, however young they are. We are told that sometimes the child will be so stressed. They even refuse to nurse those who are nursing. So don't imagine, don't start thinking that depression and stress is only in adults. Our children as young as when they can start reasoning and notice that mommy and daddy are fighting, mommy and dad are not able to provide, we don't have enough food, they are stressed, they are depressed, pay attention. Yes, they are temper tantrums. Sometimes they are there for you, but I want us to look beyond those temper tantrums. As your child or a young adult throws temper tantrums, do not ignore, because those are the kind of signs we have, and we ignore them, and we end up with suicide in the house. I say it and hear me out. A 7-year-old is the youngest suicide I have heard about here
Very
in the
good.
US.
Very good. As we continue, I want to just add a few things that we will address in this particular program. Remember that we want to ensure that by the end of this show, the parents who are taking care of children, and especially at this time that children are not able to go out and meet with their friends, they are not able to go out and study, they are not able to go out and play around like the way they are used to. There is so much going on, and that is why Dr. Penny Njoroge will take us through all of these things. And there is something that has happened. Because our children are spending so much time either watching the games, video games, TV, cartoons. What happens when you withdraw this TV and the phone, you switch over the internet at a particular time because maybe your child made a mistake? The other thing that I have seen, and a question that has just come, so that Dr. Penny will add this in the things that she will address, is the issue of the issues of sleeplessness, because the children are spending a lot of time awake at night, and they can sleep the whole day. So what are the signs and the pointers, the red flags that the parent should know? Because that is one of the things that parents we are asking, because they are not used to that habit of children sleeping so much time during the day and spending almost the whole night awake. So they end up sleeping at around 4 a.m. or they have become nocturnals, or if there's something like that. The other thing that has been mentioned here, Dr. Penny, is the issue of children rivalry. Because I guess there is a lot of fights between children. And I don't know whether we will call these domestic bullying. They're used to being bullied out there, or they have been bullied out there. And now here in the house, the firstborn, who is maybe 2 years younger, or maybe a year younger than the secondborn, or something like, or older than the secondborn, feels like the secondborn is not respecting him. So they start fighting in the house. They fight over games. They fight over the times to watch the TV, the times to play with the tablet, and maybe the parents don't know what to do. The other thing that I have been mentioned, so that you can add it on your the issues to talk about, is the issues of the children feel that maybe their parents are not giving them enough time, since they are now spending so much time at work, and some children feel like maybe mom is working too much and I'm being left at the nanny or the babysitter, and I don't like the babysitter. So the child who asked the mother the other day in Seattle, and this is a true story, must you go to work? Can't you spend time with me today? And that was real shocking. So at the end of the day, the nurse or the lady who is a CNA called off work and took the baby out to Oregon and stayed with the baby for a whole week. And the baby was able to pour out, a lot. And there's also the issue of being abused. The children have been abused by people who are supposed to take care of them. An uncle, that is where the issues of incest has also come in. Please, these are some of the things that have come up as we were preparing for this. And I open up the text messages in case somebody has an issue. Please feel free to send your question or your text. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Captain. I really appreciate that. It says, as you share these things, it says that people are listening, and I'm humbled and honored that I'm not talking to myself. It says that we are listening, we are paying attention, and that's a very, very positive thing. Yes, we are sharing problems. Let me finish the reasons why I say that our children are grieving. I say they are grieving because they are missing their teachers. Let me start with that. They are missing their teachers. They have missed. Some of them have missed graduation. And they out of school. They are missing extracurricular activities that would alleviate some of the loneliness. They are missing transitions. There are those who are supposed to have gone to high school. Remember your excitement for you and for me when we were told that on a certain Monday we are going to join high school. Many have joined, and it may look like a very silly thing, but they are missing out on that. What about those who are joining college? There is no pomp, there is no celebration for that. They're just going to college, and yes, parents have gone out of their way, taken them there, but there are lots of things they are missing. So here I'm addressing some of the grievances that are leading to all the things you have mentioned there. There are also those who are going out of state for colleges. We are not having the regular send-offs, the pomp, the celebrations, because of social distancing, lack of money, and a lot of other transitions have happened. And so you are right. The youth of today, they are compelled to postpone engagements. See, they were getting engaged. We have a lot of wedding postponements. Those who are graduating would sometimes go for the prom day, for the prom nights, the limousines. And while you and I are busy making money for them and earning a living and providing food, we may ignore these things. But if you take a close communication with your children, I get this kind of sharing from my granddaughter, who is very vocal about, oh, grandmother, I'm grieving because I hate that I can't. She was supposed to join college, and she was looking forward to have a bigger locker room and everything. But those things, we would want to provide that, and I know you would want to provide all those things, but there is a kind of loss for them. What is the importance of addressing this and realizing why are they grieving? Why are they lonely? It is affecting relationships. When they are missing this, they are wondering, is mommy or daddy caring? Do they understand that I'm hurting? So what do we do with them? My suggestion is that We need to be very careful how we are responding. I talked about being complacent. Are we listening to them? You talked about sleeplessness, symptoms of depression. We need to plan our days in such a way that even though you are going to work, help the children plan their day. Those who are working on the internet for their lessons, be involved. Don't just tell them, by the time I come back, I want you to have done A, B, C, D. They have those schedules from the schools. They have those schedules from their teachers. If you're doing homeschooling, there's a set way of doing that. But I want us to overlook all that. Yeah, those things are very necessary, but if we are going to be successful in homeschooling, if we are going to be successful in internet education, we have to have relationships with our children. You talked about children being abused. You talked about the rivalry and bullying of children between the older and the younger children. I know we have to work. My heart goes out for those families where they have no choice but to leave their children to take care of each other, especially when you have older children taking care of younger children. Remember that these children, not like us, where like I said, I was the first of 10, and I remember from a very early age, I did not play around because I was commanded, you have to know what the rest of the siblings are eating. You have to get them to wash your clothes. You have to get them from getting the firewood. Make sure we have enough water. The generation of today don't have those responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot blame them because they have all those facilities around. But what about building a sense of responsibility in them? A lot of the things we are seeing today, did we miss a step at the beginning? Maybe this is where, as parents, as guardians, as aunts and uncles, grandparents, we need to go back to the drawing board. We may not have had the necessity of doing, sharing these responsibilities with our children in the past. We could afford it. We had the jobs. They could go out to school and spend a lot of time in school, but instead of spending all the time cooped in the house, frustrating each other, fighting each other. They went to different places. We all went out and came back together. The same rivalry is happening between spouses. So if you know you're being stressed by having your husband or your wife around you 24/7, I want you to think what is happening to these siblings. They used to go to school and come back quickly. So there we need to all to sit and go back to the drawing board. What responsibilities do we need to share with our children? And
Mm-hmm.
don't just do the way Captain Njoroge and I were told, or those who are listening and you are older, we were given orders. We were not asked whether you can do it. We were not given a time to share. I don't want to do this, mommy, or I don't feel like doing. There was nothing like that. Today's children argue with us today, and sometimes they are not arguing, they are reasoning with us. And I want to encourage us, allow your children to reason with you, but reason with them, but remember you are first and foremost a parent before you become a friend. Yes, we need good relationships with them, but you are the one who is guiding them. Help them to share work equitably. Work with them. Help them to plan their days. This idea of children being on the computers, being on the TV 24/7, and then when it comes, they do this during the day and they do this during the night. Their sleep patterns are messed up. Their eating patterns are messed up. They are on crackers. I mean, by crackers, I mean, some of them are not even having proper meals because you're busy working. They used to have proper meals at school because you couldn't have the time to cook all the time. Now you are still working, so they are dealing with snacks. They are not eating properly.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're eating, if they're cooking for themselves, they'd rather watch the TV, they'd rather play, they'd rather just do their work and just do the minimum. This is where we need to get involved. How are you guiding them? How are you planning with them? Make a day maybe over the weekend where you can plan the week. What are we cooking? What work must be done? You will help in cleaning, the vacuum. Those who are old enough, they can vacuum. Everybody should be able to pick up behind themselves. But don't leave it for you to come and do everything, because if you are going to work the whole day, come back and cook, come back and clean. There is no way you're going to do that without getting irritable. Teach them to help you. Teach them to work with you. Teach them to plan with you so that the idea of sleeping 24/7 or the idea of not even completing the work assignment, it may reflect you are being disorganized. So, with all due respect, we ourselves need to be organized. We ourselves need to watch what we are bringing out of our mouth. Don't just curse them. Talk to them, reason with them, plan with them, involve them in the activities of the family. Plan some activities together. They cannot be on their books the whole day. Plan the time they spend on the TV. Plan the time they spend outside the house, outside the room. If they have to play with their neighboring children, know who your children are playing with. Know what they are doing when they are out there together. If there is social distancing, how much freedom are you allowing? Have you controlled it? Have you assessed it? Then you talked about child abuse. Yes, it is on the increase. As much as domestic violence is on the increase, child abuse is unfortunately on the increase. You have your uncles, you have your sisters also. Boys are being abused. Aunties and uncles are there. There are other grandfathers and grandmothers who are there who are not of good moral standard. Know the people who are in your household. Don't cover them just because it's your brother. The truth is that the people who do child abuse are the ones that are very closely known by the children. That is why they trust them. When Uncle so and so says, we do this and don't tell anybody else, they have, in the past, they trusted this uncle, but they have trusted an uncle or an auntie who is a villain, one who takes advantage of your child. Teach your children what they can do and cannot do with a stranger. We are now telling our children, don't let anybody touch your private parts, and if they do, be bold. Even if they told you don't tell anybody, teach them. Don't, sex education. We didn't do it when we were raising our children. And I remember when I started talking about it, my fellow women told me that I'm going too far with my sons. You better teach your children, boys and girls. Don't call it the story of the bees and the birds is over. But tell them the truth, because that which you are refusing to tell them is what they need most. And by the way, we are refusing to tell them this, the birds and the bees, and they are already learning it from their friends, learning the wrong thing. So it is important for us to talk with our children, have open communication, have family discussions between the fathers and the mothers and our children. Allow our children to talk to us, and we don't shut anybody down. Do not shut anybody down. Learn your children, observe them. What changes are you observing? Are they eating or not eating? Are they coming to the table and just doing this and keeping quiet? And they have been bubbly children in the past, and suddenly you notice they are not eating. They are not as jovial as they have always been. They are not playful. Do not ignore, do not be too busy to ask questions, and find a way. The way you ask those questions, is it a way of condemning them? Is it a way of telling them, you always sleep, you're always doing this, and you're always doing this? Instead, help me understand what is going on. Is there something that is bothering you? Are you concerned about something? Please know I'm here for you. If you make a mistake, I don't judge you. I will love you even in your mistakes. We need to talk a language of love. We need to assure them. I said we need to, and then the rivalry between the children. Do you have a favorite? Are you guilty of that? Could it be that you are breeding that? Some children are gifted differently, just like you and I are gifted differently. Remember, the Bible says you are unique, you are beautiful, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. What about your children? If you have two children, they will never be the same. We are told that even the identical twins have a different DNA. The way they respond to pain, the way they respond to joy, the way they respond to responsibilities and household chores will be different. So if one child is slothful, They don't want to do stuff. Yes, you need to reprimand them, but in the world of today where there is so much stress, be careful that you are not tipping them over the board by quarreling all the time. And if you are working, please be careful not to bring your own anger back home, because the way you approach them when you come home, will either say, "Oh, I'm glad, mommy." They will either meet you at the door, or they go under, or they will pretend they're happy you are there. If you're always quarreling them, if they have a problem, they will not come to you. The relationship we establish with them, Captain Njoroge, is very, very critical. Yes, you can give them orders, you can guide them, and be the mother, be the father, but make sure that don't disconnect, because if you disconnect when you want them to come and tell you their problems, they will not come. Be an open book for them. Assure them all the time and reassure them over and over again. Do not be tired. By the way, remember that these children are under your roof only for a season. Love them, talk to them, establish a friendship with them like this, so that even when they are grown up and married and out there, they have a link with you. They can always come back and tell you, "I'm hurting." And this is where, when one child feels that they are favored over the other, the bullies we are talking about, if somebody has been bullied in school and they could not retaliate in school, they'll come. Some of them have a tendency of coming and taking it out on their sisters or their brothers, the younger ones. And by the way, sometimes it is the other way around. The younger ones who because the older one has been told, be careful what you do with with your younger siblings. Always watch out on that, because sometimes it is the other way around. They can also be bullied. So the sibling rivalry is a known thing all over. Attention, children are asking us, "Mommy, can you play with me?" Yes, you are tired. That is admissible. Allow your children, and this is where I say that, help people to understand where you're coming from. If you're coming back home, be open with your children. Let them know the kind of work you're doing, so that when you come back and you're so tired, you need them to peel the potatoes for you to cook. Involve them and do it in such a way that it is a joyful activity for them. Let them participate in the cooking. Let them participate in the laundry, the folding of clothing, the sweeping of the house. Let it not be a chore. Let it not be something that is painful, but do it with them. When you're not very tired, learn to do these things with your children, so that it becomes something they are looking. I can't wait for mommy to come and cook with us. I can't wait for mommy to come and talk with us. These family secrets that we have, that we are not telling our children what is happening, sometimes is a prison. It imprisons them into a cocoon where they feel we don't talk about such things. And yet those are painful things. If you as spouses are having problems, I'm not saying you wash your dirty linen in front of your children, but some things, if you are being stressed because of finances, talk about it as a family. If you are stressed because there is a sickness in the house, stop hiding such things. Some of these times, some of these things, especially in this season, I am saying that let us teach our children who in our family is vulnerable, who is a high risk person during the corona. There is a grandmother, there is a grandfather in the house. We have an aunt who has had cancer. We have an uncle who has diabetes. We have a child who has had problems. Let this be a family discussion, so that when you tell them you need to social distance, let them know who I choose to do that, because I don't want to lose my grandmother. I don't want to lose my brother, my little brother, because I go out there playing, then bring COVID into the home. Let them participate, knowing exactly why it is necessary for them to do that. The other thing for us as parents is, stay informed, so you can calmly and confidently answer all the questions that your children are asking. I say, don't shut anybody up. Be informed, be able to explain to them, why are we social distancing? I gave you a few examples. Why are we struggling to make sure that we have, we can sanitize in the house? Why do we wear masks when they can hear people out there in the public saying, "Oh, wearing a mask is a choice"?
Yes.
Take care of your family, because if anything happens to your family, if anything happens to your son or daughter, you will be left alone. Do not do such things. what the Jones and the Kamaus are doing. Do what your family needs to do. Assure your children. And then parents you need to be able to answer all the questions confidently and calmly. Talk about these things without hiding. If you are fearful and anxious, find out what is happening in you so that you can be a good role model for your children. Children of all ages, including your college students, they need a firm foundation, and that firm foundation is you and me. Even for me as a grandmother living with my grandchildren, I have to watch myself. Yes, I will not kid you. I'm not very comfortable going out there, and sometimes I have to go out with them. So I cannot go there freaking and fretting. I have to explain myself. I have to look confident. And when I feel fearful, I explain to them, this is why, this is because I'm at that high risk, age bracket. And then that's why I'm saying, watch your language, be a positive energy around them. Beware how you talk. Encourage them to share and express their own emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Let them open up to you. Explain why we need to exercise as a family. You talked about sleeping. If all they are doing is watching the TV and then doing their work on the computers, and they are not going out to play, even if you don't have a big compound, guess what? Inside your sitting room, devise some activities. I've seen my grandchildren. They have found out what kind of exercises they can watch on the TV. If you have a TV, you have a gym inside your sitting room. These are things we need to do. And then devise family projects. What can we do together? Their family, their shatis or elderly people. You can call them and get your children to sing for them. If they are those that need people to read the Bible for them, you have a daughter or a son who can do that. What about buying, or just getting papers and telling your children, let us implement, good wishes, encouragement messages and cards and send them to the old grandmothers and old grandfathers. And then if you have older children, again, look at the ages of your children. You might have a 3-year-old and a 10-year-old and another 17-year-old. To minimize the friction and the rivalry, find out what you can do with the 3-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
the 10-year-old, and the 16-year-old who is a teenager. They have their own particular needs. So it is up to you to observe, what do you do with these age? What do you make projects? Talk to them age appropriate. The older children are feeling it even more because remember that teenagers are all over the place under normal circumstances.
Sure.
Don't just lock them in the house. Talk to them and explain to them, why are they not going for sleepovers like they do? They have a grandmother in the house. Do you love your grandmother? Do you love your grandfather? Your mother has had cancer. If you go and have a sleepover, you don't know whether the people you are going to are asymptomatic. Please be careful and let them do it out of a choice. Don't use the language that we grew up. Mommy said or daddy said, no question, no explanation. That generation is different. Explain yourself.
I want you to repeat that
Allow them to
particular.
reason with you.
I want you to
Yes,
repeat that.
Captain.
I want you to repeat that. We have about 5 more minutes, and
Okay.
I know I already sent my number out there, and there are two things which we can look at very quickly. I know you have mentioned it, but I would want you to mention these very just briefly. There are 3 cases that are coming here. One is the child in this particular case thinks that the parents no longer like him. He's a boy. He feels that my parents are no longer like me. So this message was sent by the parent because maybe they have been dealing with it. Are there times that children may feel like the parents don't like them because either they are pushing them too much or they are using the mommy said and you must do this and you must do this? There's a family that we went for a wedding in Indiana, and there's a young boy called Nate. Nate is a son to Dr. Paul. And every morning and every hour, they are out there, even going farming and going to cut the grass and sometimes walking and, all those activities. And he becomes very smart until he knows whatever he is supposed to do, not by order, but he got used to that system. He took it upon his responsibility to do whatever others are doing, and he feels that he is part of the family. That helps a lot. Even on this young boy who is just young but feels the responsibility that he is supposed to take. The final question that was asked is, how do I deal with difficult children? This is a young mother who thinks that her children, the father is in Kenya, so she's living here with the children, and she thinks that the children are difficult. She asked Dr. Penny, how do I deal with my difficult children? At one point, she thinks that she should send them out of this country to go and live in Kenya. But she also feels that that is a little bit too harsh for them. The final thing, I need to paraphrase this one because I may not be able to read it as it is. Let me see. This is a little bit challenging because of a separate, the children, the parents are living separately. So there's a baby daddy and a baby mama in the picture. Hey. So when the children go to the mother, when the children go to the father, they come back with a mood that is not very friendly. And this person thinks that she needs help. I don't know whether it is the children who needs help. I don't know whether it is the husband or the baby daddy who needs help or the baby mommy who needs help. I know our time is up, but we can take a few minutes, just 2-3 minutes, so that we can talk about this. If not possible or it is not complete, then I will pass over your telephone number so that somebody can call you, because this is a little bit serious.
Thank you for those questions, and my heart breaks for the parents who are going through this, because as a mother, as a parent, I can only imagine, especially when you feel that when a child says that they feel not loved, and you're doing everything. I think looking at all these questions, there's one thing I would say, that communication between us and our children is the basic key. Why do I say communication? Because the way we are relating with them, the kind of words that are coming out of my mouth will, even when you know deep inside yourself you love your child, but you're always pushing them, or you don't do, you love them, but you're thinking that by saying this, I will make them responsible. I'll make them realize that I'm hard up, or all kinds of things coming out of you. But I want you to think of yourself as the recipient of the words you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Put yourself in the shoes of this child. It may be a very young child there. The child who is saying that, I don't think my mother or my father loves me anymore. What are they hearing from you? What is your countenance when you're talking with them? I said, the days of us commanding our children, and even when that was happening, it wasn't the right thing. You cannot go commanding them. Actually, we look like bullies. Be careful that you are not a bully yourself as you command them around, as you tell them, give instructions, but let them know beyond any doubt, I am loved, I am appreciated, I am accepted. Every child needs those things: love, acceptance, and appreciation. And you don't have to tell them you hate them, but when in your language, the energy that comes out of you is that of commanding, that is of judging, condemning them all the time. They will end up translating something that you really don't have. But remember, actions speak louder than words. What kind of actions are they seeing? What responses do they get from you? And then we also need to, as we tell them what to do and not what to do, consider your child's strengths and weaknesses. If you're giving them responsibilities for things, they are not equipped, they are not gifted for that, you would have to woo them. And I'm not saying we babysit them, but you can use a language that the example you gave of this child who mowing the lawn, who is gardening with the dad, who is the girls are cooking with mommy. They end up thinking this is fun. Make life fun for your child. Let them not feel that you are just bullying them and commanding them around, using a language that is not friendly. If you want them to be your friends, guide them, be firm with them, but talk a language that assures them that whatever mommy and daddy are doing is deep inside themselves. Even when you reprimand them, even when you punish them, let them know that it is not them you're punishing, but you're punishing their mistakes. There's a difference. When you punish a child because you hate them, and when you punish them because you want them you want to get the best out of them, your countenance, the way you look, your eye contact with them, the language you are using. Do you ever hug them after all the punishment, or do you just lock them out and you give them a time off? When the time off is over, do you hug them? Do you reassure them? You know what I did because I want you to do better tomorrow. Have you failed? I know you have failed, but I believe in you. Children want to be assured. Then the other one is this mother who is feeling that maybe her children are very problematic. And my heart goes out for you when you're a single parent like I have been for years. It is hard. You're blaming yourself. Maybe other people are saying stuff around you that are making you feel inadequate. All those things play around with you. Then the fact that the father is not around, children may be grieving that as well. And they are not telling you, and you feel like they are blaming you, but the absence of a father, regardless of what the reasons are. And we know that we have many families where the children are here with one parent and the other parent is back in Kenya. Relocating them and taking them back to Kenya is not a solution. We have seen it done, but oftentimes it intensifies the problem, because if they have a problem, you are shipping them with their problem back to Kenya. You are shipping them into an environment they are not used, and that intensifies the problems that they have in dealing with their growing pains. Remember, even as you think your children are problematic, remember that they also have their growing pains. I want to say something as we teach our children to take the responsibility, teach them to take ownership, give them pride in what they are doing. If they achieve something, whether it is 1%, honor that 1%. Why multiply the 99% of failure so that you end up losing this 1%? My mother taught me, if your child has only 1% good, forget the 99, focus on this 1%, multiply this until gradually it's 20, 50, 60, and before you know it, they will never be 100%. But I'd rather have a child who is 80% competent, happy, good, than this 1%, which I multiplied and lost that 1%. I challenge you, work on the 1%, build the negative build the little that you have and build them. The other one is the baby daddy and the baby mother. I mean, there seems to be a complication even for the child.
Yes.
I am even I've been even confused myself, and I know that we have these diverse families, and this child who is going to a father here and a mother there and another, they have a baby daddy here and a mother, a baby mother here. I say it again, put yourself in the shoes of these children. Sometimes they are confused. You don't know what is happening when they go to this circle. Sometimes they have 3 or 4 parents. Life happens. And I cannot fault you because you are in this kind of a situation. The only challenge and the only suggestion I would be sensitive to the fact that these children are torn apart. I want to learn my real daddy and I want to learn my real father. But my daddy has another wife, so I have a stepmother. I have a stepfather. they are still young. There is confusion. And unless the five of you or the four of you are working as a team to assure this child, you are not the problem. We have a problem ourselves. And even if this is happening, are you people willing to work as a team? Are you considering the fact that this child has nothing to do with the situation he is in? Can we mold them? Can we, for the sake of this growing child, work together as a team? Put aside your disagreements because they'll be there. After all, there is a lot of things needing to be integrated. But I would suggest that let's care for the child. Integrate yourselves for the sake of this child. I've seen separated, when people have divorced, I've seen the divorced father who is not staying with the child. When a graduation comes, he is there for his child's graduation. The same thing with the mother. The child is staying with the father, and there is a graduation, there is a birthday. They forget their disagreements. If there is a wedding, forget your disagreements. But it is harder when the children are younger.
Thank
When
you.
the children are in the developmental years, it is harder. It is even more critical that the people involved in this realize that this is not about you. It's about a mind that is growing. It's about a mind that has all the likelihood of getting lost unless you sacrifice your pride, unless you swallow your pride. Remember, you are the ones who created this situation. Consider the welfare of the child first. Consider their own comfort first and mold them, because one of these days they'll grow up if you do the right job. If you put your pride aside, help them to grow, they will leave you eventually, and you can enjoy all the relationships that you have. For the time
Thank you.
being, my prayer and my wish is let's focus on the children. Love them where they need it. Assure them. Guide them. They need your guidance. They need your compassion. They need your acceptance. And they need the reassurance that they are loved and accepted.
Thank you so much, Dr. Penny Njoroge, for that wonderful dose. It is for us to listen and to work on. I hope that we have learned something, and especially those who had different questions, those who are listening to us on the app as we continue to work, and even as we conclude this program. Somebody wants to know your telephone number and how he can get you. It's currently it's she, how she can get you, and we want to make sure that she gets you in confidence. So that is a private text. So in confidence, she would want to get some help. So what is the number that she can be able to reach you?
Can I give my email address?
Yes.
Yeah, my email address is better because sometimes I have too many calls and sometimes I might not be able to identify, and so you might miss me, or it's likely you might call me and find me too busy. But my email address is pennyrose251 at gmail.com. You can also inbox me on Facebook.
Oh, very good. That's better off.
Yeah, Facebook will be an ideal one. So the email address is Penny, PENNYRUTH 251 at gmail.com.
Wow. Thank you so much. We're going to
And
post
I also
that.
want to say that for those, and I also want let me add here that for those people who might want to contact me, you can inbox me on Facebook. I also do telehealth counseling. In other words, you may be in a different city and you want to talk to me. If you inbox me or email me, I do telephone counseling. I have clients in Kenya, I have clients in other countries. So that is a facility that God has created, especially at a time like this when we are not able to meet face to face. But to get in touch with me, and I am available, and my heart goes for families that are struggling at the moment. Remember that I care and I'm praying for you.
Thank you so much. That's a lot of love. If you want to talk to Dr. Penny, the best and the easiest way is to inbox her on her Facebook. She is very responsive to that, and she is going to help you. Do not complain. Do not suffer alone. Do not just sit there and eventually you just struggle with an issue that has a solution. Thank you so much, Dr. Penny, for taking time to be with us. And with that, we come to the end of that particular segment of our program. Thank you so much, and have a good night.
Thank you very much, everybody, and God bless you. Remember, you are not alone. You don't have to suffer alone. And Captain Njoroge, thank you so much for once again inviting me. And if necessary, we can continue on this topic, because parenting is a process. It's an ongoing thing. Do not suffer alone. We are all in this together. And again, don't allow people to define you. Don't allow your mistake to define you. You know, none of us is 100%. As a grandmother, I know that if given a chance to reparent again, to raise my children once again, there are many things I would do different. So give yourself permission to make mistakes, but don't quit. Seek help. And don't ignore don't, learn your children so that you can understand when they are changing.
Thank
Do
you.
not call your children's problems temper tantrums. Those temper tantrums have been ignored, and children have ended up in worse places. Again, child abuse, watch out who is in your house. Do not cover anybody up, because your first and foremost responsibility is your child, not your brother, not your cousin, not your sister, not even your grandfather. People have become what they are, and we need to be open. We need to be serious about this. Captain Njoroge, thank you for raising that, because that's a topic we don't talk about. Sexual abuse and molestation and incest. The other day we were told of a boy who actually impregnated his own sisters. Tragic. Because we are not talking about these things, we leave them to fate.
Thank you so much.
We either talk about it or they'll get it from the wrong sources. So thank you, Captain Njoroge.
And thank you so much. I know there's a lot going on. We are going to continue to handle this as we continue. Thank you so much, Dr. Penny. And if you need to have a session with Dr. Penny, you can send her an inbox on her Facebook, and it will be good. So have a very good night. Dr. Penny, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. That brings an end to our program, and thank you so much for tuning in. I want to bring that to a conclusion. For those who are watching us on YouTube, thank you so much. We are wishing you a good night so that I can get over on the other